And we're live. Welcome back to the Nexus, weekly time we take out for Torah and you. Welcome. We do this every week here, 8 p.m. Central Time. John Gishla, my good friend and co-host tonight. We'll hopefully get Rosalie in here. And you as well. We've got the link up at Rumble. We've got the link up at YouTube as well. Full show is on Rumble, so we will be switching over from Commie YouTube to Freedom of Speech Rumble. About halfway through the show. We'll see how it goes. I want to thank everybody for, we're still getting good views on X, Twitter, Twix, whatever, Twitix. We're doing well over there, and we're doing really well here on the Rumble. So we're glad to be here. We're glad to see the response, and would like for you to join us. Because you are my favorite viewer. You know that, right? So join us here. Anything basically biblical you want to talk about. And I'll go as far as New Testament and Quran. Shoot, we'll even throw in the Tao Te Ching for free. I would love to discuss anything biblical with you, and we do it from a Torah-based perspective, Judaism-based perspective, which is far more universal, I think, than people understand. It's not just for Jews anymore. Old folks will remember that orange juice campaign from way back in the day. It's orange juice. It's not just for breakfast anymore. Well, the Torah is for everybody, and a lot of folks don't know that. And not all of it. No, you can't be a high priest just by putting on the stuff. Go see Raiders of the Lost Ark. You'll see how that turns out. You don't get to get a lot of that, but you're in there as a human being. You're in there as a person, and there's a way that we have to live. And one thing I don't talk about enough on here is redemption, and repentance, because it's not pretty. I mean, when you just fall to the floor and pray while you weep, it's not something it's not a pretty thing to talk about. It's not a nice thing to talk about. And I really think with what's going on right now is the time, if we can get more people to repent and better themselves in his eyes, it might bode well for them in some of the revelations and some of the events that are about to come. So I can get off on that. We are going to talk about anti-Semitism as theater, because gosh, if the press are on it, it's got to be true, right? So we're gonna talk about that, and of course the Parsha this week, and really a tribute to Sarah's doing in the world, and Sarah passed, and then Avraham passes this week in the Torah, and then at the end of the Parsha is the story of Ishmael, who cannot be understated, was a very righteous man, and so much so that God made him, or God placed him in the Torah in a very special position. All that and more. John, how you doing this evening? Happy Thursday to you. What's new in your world? Go Kennedy 24, but vote Trump.
I can't complain. I'm doing good. I really can't complain, man. Life, as bad as I got it, life's still better than I got it better than most people, and I got to remember my blessings, and just this week's Torah portion, blessings that are in our life, and the miracles that take place every day. It's something that we have to start acknowledging as people. So that's what I'm going to start doing: be more positive, acknowledge the miracle.
You're right. I believe in that 100%. It's just a matter of perspective. They happen every day. There's the miraculous at work, within the mundane, within your, and it's there. I mean, miraculous things, and you just have to be aware. That's all I can say. Is awareness is key in this. Let me get some things closed out here, and I have one message waiting. Feel free to leave a comment and discuss in chat. If you want to get into this week's Torah portion with us, it starts on Genesis chapter 23. That's kind of like the base, but we discuss anything biblical, anything related, and things that go along with the Torah portion this week. What are we learning? What's being taught to us? And all that good stuff. Okay, so we were all cleared up on that. I'll put a link to here over in the side chat. We'll put a link to a link that you can follow along if you'd like to know what we're talking about here. Christians, you're welcome to come in. There are differences, I think, and I'm a Dennis Prager guy. You know, he says it's very much the values. He never likes to discuss the different theologies because they are different. But the values here in the West, anyway, are something we share and we should. Thank you, John. Welcome, Rosalie.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
Had
Just
a little.
discussing that, you know, we might not, when it comes to the Christian folks coming in here and discussing the Bible with us, I was saying that while the theology is different, the values are the same. Judeo-Christian value. I never liked the word. You can go back and look at any of my, for the past 10 years, I never liked the term Judeo-Christian, but it really is a thing. And their values is and the fact that we share so many of the same values, how we come to them might be more fun to discuss than if we just rest on, not interact or whatnot. So, welcome. I would love for Muslims to come in and talk too, because so many similarities, and that's coming from an outsider. There just seems so many similarities here. Are they really that different? Are Muslims really as different as they might think? I mean, is it the way they go about things is in a lot of ways is kind of groovy. I don't know much about it. So anybody come in here and discuss Torah, we would love to have you here. Thank you for tuning in once again here on X Rumble and YouTube as well. Rosalie, how you doing? How's your week been?
Well,
Like one of those.
The 2-year-old strikes again. Oh my God. I ask anybody, is there anything I need to get? No. The next thing I know, I get, Mom says, bring home 2 loaves of bread and milk. Okay, an hour later, you're not going to believe what your grandson did. He got into the refrigerator and grabbed every single egg and smashed them on the floor. Thank God the dogs are there to clean it up.
Wow.
Like, okay, I'll bring home a dozen eggs too. I just got done, the reason I'm late, cleaning up another mess because he got on top of the counter. He got into the sugar and he got into my creamer and he tried to make coffee in Grandma Great's coffee pot, creamer and sugar, and dumped oranges on the floor and everything. Cat food's got creamer in it now. It's like, oh, I should have paddled his little behind and sent him back downstairs. I said, I better woke up everybody. I don't care. That's what I was doing, is cleaning up the mess. My mom doesn't need to wake up and have to clean that up or wait on somebody to clean it up. She shouldn't have to.
My Katie was obsessed with cracking eggs.
Mm-hmm.
We lost many a dozen.
Yes.
So let's hope this is just a quick phase. Save you
Yeah,
some
yeah.
money.
At least they're cheap,
Yeah.
At least they're cheap. The creamer wasn't cheap, but oh well. So I just don't have creamer in the morning. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Especially if one of those big creamers, man, they go for like $10.
No, it was the small dry hazelnut version.
Hazelnut, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was almost brand new.
I gotta stay away from coffee creamer. They're high in sugar. They're good, but they're high in sugar, so I gotta stay away from them. But anyway, yeah. So today's topic is anti-Semitism as theater.
Yeah.
Is what?
Yeah.
Bad actors, huh?
And some good actors. I saw there's a video of them filming bodies, dead Palestinian bodies.
Oh, how many of them were moving?
One of them reaches over and scratches his crotch and goes back to being dead.
He must have fallen asleep and didn't know. Okay.
But that's not what I'm talking about. But that is funny. It's like, we've had plenty of Muslims living in the United States for a while, and that's what we like to get. Like I say last year, it's like, the only thing we can see in a Muslim is the enemy, kind of a thing. Muslims aren't the enemy, never were, but they like to make that. Okay, so that's part of it, and they want to use that. Okay, fine, but why now? Okay, why now? I'm not sure it's as prevalent in America as people are making it out to be. What's shocking is it's being plastered all over the place. We have a lot. We've invited a population of people that are more than 35 states into this country. And
We didn't invite them; they showed up uninvited.
And suddenly we have massive amounts of people showing up in droves that are queer for Palestine. And that's not my words. That's the name of the organization.
That cracks me up.
But and that's how can that not be a joke? That can't be real.
Oh, it's very real.
I'm not so sure it's as
Gaz will tell you it is.
Huh?
Gaz will tell you it is.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Yeah.
I figured it'd be a black matter sucker.
Rabbi Gab will tell you it's real, and he thinks it's funny too.
Hey, it's crazy to think, but yeah.
Anyway, it's on the television, and it's big bombastic theater. Okay. Protest.
Trendy and fashionable.
But yeah, exactly. How many of those people out there have a clue? Really have a clue? They're just told something and they're repeating it. They're bored. They have no life. They need something to believe in. They go out there. But how many people really? You might hate. It's like
I think you want me to be honest. I'm a straight shooter. I'm from New York. I'll just tell it the way it is. I think people are just Jew haters, and it gives them the opportunity to show hatred for Jewish people and disguised as some sort of humanitarian. How can I word it? Oh, I love Palestine. I got to protect Palestine. There's a genocide going on in Palestine. It masks their underlying Jew hatred. That's really what it is. Let's be honest. They were always an anti-Semite. They always hated Jews. And now this gives them a get out of jail free card. That's basically what I think. And colleges promote Jew hatred. I mean, young kids today, it's fashionable to hate Jews for some reason.
The self-hating Jews who are their teachers are promoting it. They're promoting it. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that I don't know. I think that's where it comes down to. Simple.
What it comes down to is what I posted yesterday. Yeah. It's not Israel. It's Israel's God.
Yeah.
He's in charge of everything.
Yeah, someone said that. I don't remember who said that. Was that you, James, that said that? It's they don't hate Jews, but they really hate his God. Was that you that said that last week?
Yeah. Yep. It's like, you're really blaming God. You're getting your is what you're doing. Yep.
Oh yeah.
But I do agree that now a lot of people feel more open to it. I'm not so sure they know who they hate. Is my point.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah,
they've been given a bill of goods, and they're out there protesting, calling for Jewish. I mean, genocide. These are the same people calling us Hitler 4 years ago. For years on end, we were the new Nazis. Trump was Hitler.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, today is the anniversary of
Kristallnacht. Yeah,
today's the anniversary.
Of what was that again?
Kristallnacht means glass broken, but I guess if you translate it into like modern English with all the thing and the nine of broken glass, I guess it means.
Yes.
But it's when they went around, spray painting Stars of David and breaking glass of Jewish businesses and homes. I mean, it's just, this is 1938, right? So that's, how many years ago was that? So it's, not that long ago.
Not long
ago. It's just the way it is.
Well, when it's amplified. If you stop and think about it for a second, do a little bit of research, you don't have to support the state of Israel if you don't want to. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that what's the word?
It's a false dichotomy. I mean, people think like, okay, it's just two people and one guy lives on one side of the fence, the other guy lives on the other fence, and they're having a dispute because a tree hangs over one side. Who does the tree belong to? this is not what we're talking about. Something as simple as this. There's clearly, I mean, you're saying I'm not telling you to support Israel, but put that to the side. You can clearly see there's one side that is maybe not a paragon of good, or another side is renegade of evil, but there's clearly it's a lopsided. Okay, not 50-50. I'm not. No, it's definitely not 50-50. It may not even be 64. Maybe 60-40, 70-30. But there's definitely a clear difference. It's not something you can guess. Okay, put the bombing to the side. Maybe Bibi Netanyahu saying that he's going to go all Melech on everyone and just exterminate people. Maybe that's radical to say. But, hey, you just had a group of people who are the military arm of the oppositional political party just hang glide in like it's a goddamn summification, you know what I mean, and just mowed down thousands of people and kidnapped hundreds. Well, not quite 100, but you know what I'm saying. You can't say like, oh, these people don't have a right to defend themselves, and that's what's so outrageous about it, James. Right? I mean, you literally, the day that this happens, people paraglided in and killed people. You literally had riots in defense of Palestine and talking about Palestine oppression. How do you equate the two? I don't even understand how does one get. How do you jump from that?
You're so oppressed you can knock off 1,000 people in a matter of hours.
Yeah, that I don't understand. That's kind of wacky, too. But it's always been underlined. I think so. I mean, growing up, it's just people don't like Jews. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. I'm not trying to put a judgment call on it, but it's just I just think it's just an excuse for people to show who they really are. You know what I mean? I mean, you're ripping down posters of literally kidnapped people on pole, and they're ripping it down. I mean, people kidnapped. Does that have anything to do with war?
Yeah, this whole son of a bitch and thing is coming down to oil again. It's coming down to oil again.
They're putting razor blades on the ends of these posters, and when people go to rip it off, it cuts all their fingers.
Oh God!
It's so funny. It's kind of funny, but I don't know, James. It's a wacky do world. Is there a way to connect it with this week's story portion with Sarah? What is today's story?
I think so.
Sarah, the life of Sarah.
Yep.
Yes. I'm trying to get some. Oh, you know what? I can't sign in from this computer rumble. Sorry. Gosh darn it. All right. I was trying to get a link over on there.
Hold on.
Well, I mean, I think it's in this week's Torah portion, doesn't it?
Okay, here's the link from Kabod.
I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. Is that this week's Torah portion that says that, or? Or is that last week's?
Okay, what'd you say? I'm sorry, I got everybody.
There's a verse in Genesis that says, "I will bless the nations that bless you, and I will curse the nations that curse you." I think it's in this week's Torah portion, if I'm not mistaken, right? I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head. So,
Abraham is buying Machpelah.
Yeah, this is right before he died. That would come later. Israel hadn't been born yet.
Yeah, Abraham is buying Machpelah cave.
Well, when does Abraham? Oh, Sarah dies in this week's Torah, but
yes.
Not Abraham. I'm sorry. I thought it was Abraham. For some reason, I thought it was. That's right. The life, which is what asks the question: why is this week's Torah portion called the life of Sarah? If the first sentence of the Torah Parsha of this week is that Sarah dies,
she lived 120
which is a famous question, right? We always talk about these famous questions of rabbis. A famous question, because what's the answer, James? Why does the Torah knowledge call it the life of Sarah when she dies?
It's her legacy, kind of a thing. That was what I don't know. My impression from it was that you're reading her legacy. I mean, and Avraham's death comes later. It's like that's part of her legacy. Avraham is part of her legacy. Her sons are there. Her son is there. And finds a woman.
They send out what's his name to go to
Eliezer,
Rachel's uncle to get her to come and marry Isaac.
there's a hospitality factor going in right there.
Mhm.
What hospitality can do for you, and Avraham was the epitome of hospitality. That man was a gracious, the gracious host. I'm not going to say the most. Hopefully one day we're all better than that. But I'm saying that man right there was the man. that was the consummate host. Okay. The French hotels of hosts, fancy French hotels of hosts. And how she was hospitable, how, and I found in the family, and I thought everybody be very gracious, and to a man who was gracious himself, or was a contemporary, or the servant of the most gracious man alive. That's some of that positivity John and I were discussing before we went live. Is we could complain, and we're going to talk about some of the rough things happening in the world, but there's a lot of sweetness in this world. What did Methuselah want? Berries. He just wanted a berry. In the Noah, the film Noah, he just wanted a berry.
He wants just a berry.
Right before the flood came, he got his berry. God gave him his berry. His one little. You're getting one. How does it? Okay, my thing. Okay, you asked about the Torah portion. Of course, I'm all on trying to undo the bad word Zionism, because Zion is not a bad word. It's actually biblical, Zion, but in English, it's Zion. And how the whole thing started, and this is and this comes from the Avraham. Okay, he wants to bury his wife. It's time. Let me get back to the.
Right, he wants to bury his wife, and then he has to haggle with these people about a cave, and
yes,
I'll give you this many shekels, and
he doesn't want to accept it for nothing. He wants to pay for it.
That
way
was
nobody can come back on him and say that they gave it to him,
right,
or take it away from him. He has the deed. He has the deed to the land.
It was the Hittites. I was a stranger and a resident among you, and you have been good to me. And I would, and he's like let me get his name right before I open my mouth. And of course, I've got the Rational Bible out, so it's like a lot of commentary. And
what are you looking? What name are you looking for? The dude he bought it from.
He spoke to those, but he was. The Hittites replied to Avraham. He doesn't give the name, and I should have my stone out or my Gutnick, and I don't. But there was one man, and he says to him, I've given you that cave already. That the lands around it, you've got it.
Right.
You are a great, and they were both being overly gracious. Prostrate.
Ephraim.
Thank you.
Ephron. Ephraim.
Ephraim. Thank you. And Ephraim's, saying, "Are you kidding me? What are you're asking me for it? You can have it. Please take it from me." And he's like bowing down, basically. And then I'm bowing down to the Hittites. He's like, "Please listen to me. I need to pay you money for it. I have to pay you for it. Please." He's, "Are you kidding me? If that's what you really want to do, okay. But just realize that land is yours anyway." And God says, and Abraham, and it says, Abraham bowed to the people of the Hittites. No, my Lord, hear me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in my presence of my people. Bury your dead. Abraham bowed low before him. And if you could hear me out, let me pay the price of the land. Accept it from me. And he replied to Abraham and says, "My Lord, do hear me." My Lord. That's what he called Avraham. Avraham's an outsider. "My Lord, do hear me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Go bury your dead." And it's Avraham heard Ephraim's words. He accepted it. And
so I was reading, reading here, and I was reading. It's interesting. There's a whole Chabad has a great commentary and lessons on there. I recommend it for anyone. If you go to the weekly Parsha, if you click it and you go to Parsha study, they break it down on every level. Like you can look on some Kabbalah study, you can look on some Midrash study, some Talmud study. They literally, any level you want to do, any section of the Torah you want to do. And so funny, and I'm reading here, there, Bereshit 23:4, I am an immigrant and an inhabitant with you. Give me burial property that I may bury the dead before you. So before me. So as you know, everyone's giving their commentary and they're explaining, and Rashi says that he was saying that he's an immigrant from another land, but he settled among these people, so he wants to buy the land in an honest way. Basic, everyone can agree with that, right? What's so funny here is the Rebbe always gives you one up, one more, right? I mean, the Rebbe has just such a way of seeing things differently that past generations don't see it, and it's so funny. He says here that he's trying to Avraham believed in two different levels of ownership. I mean, this is so great. National ownership, where it was basically government property, it was public property, right? Basically, God said to the Jewish people, God said to Abraham, this land is the Jewish people, belongs to the Jewish people. So it's like basically statehood, right? God is saying this is a statehood. And then he says, no, but here Avraham is saying he's establishing this as a private property. He's enacting, he wants to buy the land so that he can form property rights. That's what the Rebbe writes. He's giving himself property rights by buying the land honestly, nobly, that he wants to make this property rights. I love that. I love how he just that Republican libertarian in me are like, damn, that Rebbe's thinking on a whole different level, man.
It says in chapter 23:18, it was to Abraham as a possession before the eyes of the sons of Heth, in the presence of all who had come within the gate of his city. So there's your political standing as well.
Yeah.
That's where Zionism came from. The Jews came back and purchased land. They bought land in Palestine. Let's call it what it was at the time. It was in the 1800s, middle 1800s. Sephardim, and I think Ashkenazim.
Right.
There were several different. There's like 12 different families or 12 different representatives, I guess. All came down and purchased land there. They bought the land fair and square. So without any, they invaded, they colonized. Nobody was stopping them from coming in and buying land. And since no one else was doing anything with it, the Ottomans fell, and after World War I, so it's a good thing. They came back and and the land responded, and a lot of people were happy with it. So when the colonizer, it's the apartheid thing, or it doesn't belong to them. It's like, they're home. They came home. They bought the land fair and square, and they bought more.
I mean, it's a silly issue. I think, people kill and be killed and fight and die for land all the time. I mean, how many times, how many different countries are in the section of the Middle East, between Turkey, modern-day Turkey, Morocco, modern-day Morocco, all the way to Iran. I mean, you're talking about thousands of different countries and political entities. Well, countries, I mean, the term country is kind of a modern day concept. I mean, you basically, back in the day, usually just had rich, barren landlords that just owned large swaths of land, or of some political entity owning the land. They didn't really have concepts of government back then, but I mean, it's just silly. I mean, it's just, okay, Jews came, Jews buy, Jews bought, Jews take over. Who cares? At the end of the day, I mean, people are going to bitch and complain, right? I mean, the French and the Germans bitch and complain about the border on the Rhine. Is this little sliver of land belong to really France, or does this really belong to Germany? I mean, they still bitch and complain about it, right? I mean, it's always going to be that way. Northern Ireland is separated between Britain and Ireland. Is Northern Ireland Irish, or is it British? Does it need to go back? Are they occupiers? Are they stealing the land? I mean, at the end of the day, it's just the way it is. You can have your political opinion, but I just think that's the way it comes down to. I don't think it's religious in nature. I don't think it has anything to do with religion. I think it just has to do with people being people. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? People, it's like what I said a couple of weeks ago. Muslims want to be the last person to sit in the musical chair, right? I mean, that's just what it comes down to. When their Antichrist Messiah fight showdown of Gog and Magog happens, they want a front row ticket, right? That's why they're not going to give up that seat. That's where they believe the same thing Jews believe, that this is the land where the whole showdown, the whole shindig is going to take place, right? So.
Yep. And they look forward to the same.
Why would they give up? Why would they give that up? Why would they? They could, right? They could for peace, right? They can say, you know what? Egypt's not taking in any Palestinian refugees. Actually, they're coming out on record saying they're going to use military force against any refugees that cross the border. They're going to shoot them down. They're saying. That's kind of. I thought we were all pro-Palestine here, guy.
No, they want to ship them out. They want to ship them out to European countries. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
so
the United States.
If you're not going through official channels, I think that's what they're doing. That's
right.
Yeah.
So it's a scam. People are outraged over nothing. That's really my take on it. The Jews won the land. They, and there's cities that didn't exist, like Tel Aviv. Is a huge city in Israel. Yeah. It's the second. I think it is the largest city in Israel. I think it's more people live there than Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Mm-hmm. And that was completely nothing there. That was a completely hot. That city was built on nothing. It was a big piece of nothingness, big nothing burger, and it's a big towering skyscrapers now. I mean, that's all built by Jews that came there just 80 years ago. That city was built like New York in 80 years. Not by Arabs.
Because where the Jews go, the land prospers.
So, I mean, are they saying they stole Tel Aviv because that Tel Aviv didn't exist 100 years ago? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
These colonizers built a city on this land and allow us to come and go. Colonizers.
Right, yeah. So that's is it really? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong with it. Doesn't have to do with religion.
It's not religion. They use it. I heard this one child Palestinian child saying, the Jews teach that the Al-Aqsa Mosque was on top of the temple, and this is not true. Jewish lies. I'm like, that's like how bad it is. That's not religion. That's just
politics.
Oh, Rabbi I'm saying his name wrong. Rabbi Chaim Richmond. Is that his name? The guy from the Temple Institute. What's his name?
Dude, the Noahide Institute guy?
No. The guy, does he? I think he does Noahide stuff, but it's called the Jerusalem Institute, the Temple Institute. He's all about rebuilding the temple guy, the guy that wants to. Now he says, according to his opinion, and it's the schematics that he has, you can keep. Okay, so. The dome of the rock. Okay, there's two. So this is where the confusion comes in. You have the Dome of the Rock, which is the rock that Muhammad ascended to heaven on his Pegasus. That was his night journey, right? He rode from Mecca to Jerusalem, and then he got taken up, and then God spoke to him and said, you're going to be a prophet, and you go back to Arabia. Then there's the mosque. You're right, the second building. So there's two separate buildings. The Dome of the Rock is a separate entity from the mosque. And the mosque is tiny, right? If you look at a picture, all you see is the Dome of the Rock. It's a gigantic building.
The gold.
That's not connected to the temple. That's not on the temple.
It's not even in the same.
That's separate. It's the mosque that's like down the block, around the corner, or down the street, like a mile away. That could be technically on the mount. Technically, I think that's how it. Or maybe I have it backwards. Is it the Dome of the Rock, or maybe it's the Dome of the Rock?
It's Alaska Mosque.
So my point. Okay, put that to the side. The rabbi is saying that you can build the third temple, technically speaking, without destroying any of the Muslim artifacts and religious things, that it will fit the way it's built and the way they have it. You can erect a temple and still keep the mosque.
I like that.
I don't think Hashem
you
would allow it.
You literally can have both compounds. Let me put it that way. You could both have both compounds, both religious sites at the same site.
Hashem wouldn't allow it.
Well, I'm just saying. This is one of the prominent rabbis. This is a rabbi that has authority. I mean, he's not some schmendrick. So if he's the one that has the red heifer. I mean, this guy's putting out a video saying the red heifer's coming next week.
Yeah,
he's ready to go.
Well, they got to do the 156 things in the Hal Ketor before they can do anything else.
Well, that's something you have to talk to the rabbi. Then I don't make the decisions, but and so if this guy is saying that there could be peace and that religion can be together, hey, you know what I mean? Who are we why are we fighting then?
Yeah,
you got the big right, because the Muslims are worried that these Jews are radical, they're extremists, they want to build a temple, they believe in the Messiah, but the guy that's advocating for it saying that you could be together. It's on the same compound and it fits. So where's the hatred coming from the Jewish people? Now I'm sure there's Jews out there screaming crazy things, but this guy who has authority, that has the proper voice in the matter. He's not saying it. He's saying, "Hey, we can have two compounds in one." So I don't know. But I'll fact check it. I think it's because people confused, because people think the Dome of the Rock and the mosque are the same thing. They're separate buildings. They're in separate locations, and they don't overlap, and the temple doesn't fit into it. That was my point.
Al-Aqsa's mosque is like the number 4 building in their religion.
Right, Medina, Mecca. Mecca is the most important. Medina and Jerusalem, and then that mosque. Yeah.
In Medina,
so
doesn't Medina mark the site of the well that Hashem gave
Ishmael?
I've heard things like that. Yeah,
I think, isn't that what Medina is, or is that what Mecca is?
I think that's what Mecca is, and I think that's what you're trying to say. Because I know people believe that the Kaaba was originally something that Avraham and Keturah came up with, or that it was originally built by them. Well, that's what Muslims believe anyway.
Yeah,
that was something that was dedicated by Avraham and his wife. Right, because she changed his name to Keturah, right? It wasn't Hagar. She repents and she comes back. Right, Keturah, right? So yes, I think that's that side. I think that's Kaaba.
Okay.
Or maybe it's Medina. I don't know. There's a lot, because I know when the pilgrimage I was reading about on the pilgrims, the Mecca pilgrims, there's this spring water that they drink from. There's this spring that naturally comes out of Mecca or something that's weird. It's pure water, and they say that's a thing. What you were saying.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of connections. That's why people I don't understand why there's so much overlap. You know what I mean? I mean, people say, another connection is that the 10 Commandments of Mount Sinai. It's in Saudi Arabia. I think most Jewish people agree that Mount Sinai isn't what Christians promote all the time. Is that in the Sinai Peninsula, which is Egypt, but it's really, when they left Egypt, they went down the Red Sea and they crossed over into Saudi Arabia. They didn't go up into the little top there, but they came down across, right? Because the text says the Ham Sof, which is the Red Sea, right? Now, people who liberal today, they don't want to make the miracle, the splitting of the Red Sea, kind of a miracle. Well, it was just a wind that blew the water away, and they walked the Sea of Reeds, they call it, right? That's the whole. Well, it was really the Sea of Reeds. It was really just a little sump, a little water wet way that God blew. And no, that's not what the text says. It says Yam Sov, and in Yam Sov it connects Egypt with Saudi Arabia. Okay. So, if you want to be politically correct and not make the miracle a miracle, sure, you can believe in the Sea of Reeds, and it would, but it is what it is. And so I think most people, if you're religious, Jewish, you believe that Saudi Arabia has a connection. Of course, Midian has a connection, which is what Saudi Arabia used to be called. Jethro, he was the king of Midian, king of Moses, his father-in-law. There's so many connections, that are positive, and then people don't want to look at those positives. People just want to see the hate and the bigotry, when really there's only a little hate, and people blow it out of proportion. My rant's over. Sorry.
There was a time in when the Jews came back to Palestine, where the schools were teaching Arabs Jewish stuff, and they were teaching the Jewish kids Muslim things, and they were getting along, and and they venerated each other, and they it's there's so many. I can't. Yeah, you got it. I don't think I can add to that.
Yeah.
When the shit hit the fan in the 70s, that's when things started going downhill. When they started making the women wear the burqas and everything else like that. And that happened like the mid to late 70s.
And America has a lot to blame on that role too, because we back these people that put those crazy people in charge. You look at photos of 1950, 1960 Middle East, and these women were wearing blue jeans and T-shirts and hanging out, mini skirts, and then they were radical in a way. They didn't want to sell the oil to the BP, British Petroleum, so they called up America, their buddy, and say, let's take them out. So it's then you put in a guy that wants to sell you the oil, and he's a goddamn lunatic. Pardon my French.
It was I think that's.
But the like I say, I'm from New York. I'm not gonna mix
shoot
my words.
Straight, baby.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it's just
Yeah, we should be appreciating the what's going on over there. I mean, everybody knows, I think, deep in their heart, those who have brains and hearts not made of rock can pretty much sympathize, should be able to understand what's going on over there, and realize that this isn't a Muslim Jew thing at all. And they still want to make it out to be like that. And the whole genocide thing, no, that Gaza's the size of Washington freaking DC. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a genocide. You got a whole country of Jordan over there. Same people, same religion, same history, same language.
Yeah, Arab Palestine is Jordan. Jordan's Arab Palestine, and Israel's Jewish Palestine.
Exactly. That was the original binding two-state solution, and for the most part, they work well. I'm just learning how. I didn't realize this. I never really stopped to look or listen to the king or queen of Jordan, and my gosh, for a Middle Eastern country, those guys sound awfully British.
Yeah. You think?
Well, didn't they study and weren't they born here in the West?
I think they were more like they studied and were installed by.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Brits, at least on the oils coming up.
Yeah,
and the whole Civil War, getting out the old judicial system and bringing in a true one, a better one. Once they get the land back, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen, I think, quicker, but everyone's going to go up against them, and nothing's going to come of it.
Hanukkah maybe.
Prevail, and when that's done, it's done. They get the land back. They get a Sanhedrin.
Yeah.
That's it. They're coming home. Yep. They're coming home. And right now it's a British corporation, and the Brits were given that after the war, and everyone agreed to it at the time. Mandate for Palestine, okay. But we kicked the rulers out, but they still legally own it. Anyway, that's going to end. That's going to go bankrupt. I asked today on Facebook, before we get to the Haftorah and then on to Rumble, I asked on Facebook, and this is the language that the Torah uses: with an outstretched arm, I brought you out of Egypt. And he later on, and think of when the
I
outstretched
think it says
arm,
a strong hand and an outstretched arm.
right?
Yeah.
How did that bode well
Yeah.
for Egypt? Look at what it took to get the Jews out. I think one of the reasons why we have these major protesters going on is because we imported, 10, 15 million people, and most of them weren't from our continent.
Correct.
Get my drift?
True, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These are people who actually give a shit about Palestine. They don't give two shits. They couldn't even point to it in a map. They have no clue. They're clueless. They're actually Marxists, socialists who are backing this shit up. The Soros bunch. Well, these people are in here now in all the cities. Most of the Jews in America live in the cities. I think all hell's going to break loose to bring the rest of them home.
Mm.
I mean, they're in the entire West. Anywhere the Jews have settled, save Poland, if there are any Jews left there, everybody's got them now. Everybody's got these massive amounts of refugees. Kept shipping them out. Military, legion-aged men, I think is how Torah would put it. Men of legion age. These aren't women and children coming across. So I think Fit's going to hit the shan, and I think that's going to it's going to be that kind of because he says with an outstretched arm, I will bring you back. I think that's Isaiah. I'm almost positive it's Isaiah.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy. I mean, when it came to Egypt, they say 90% of the Jewish population perished within the plagues. They died along with the Egyptians, right? And only a few left. And that's the same thing like happened in every exile, right? The Babylonian exile, the majority of Jews died in the exile. Only a few ever returned back to Israel. And some, you can say the Edom exile, will happen again, right? So it makes sense that, history repeats itself, right? King Solomon says in Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun. So, I mean, I'm not, maybe it doesn't sound politically correct, but I would probably say 90% of Jews are going to be, they wiped out in the Holocaust. We're probably going to see another 90% go, which is the sad fact of the reality is, because they're stubborn, and, they're not that stubborn. I take that back. That's a wrong word to use. They want to assimilate. And so you're going to die either way. When you assimilate, you're going to die. Your identity goes, right? Because, just the way it happens. You assimilate. That's what the word means. Like the word assassinate. It goes away. Bye-bye. So either way, you're not going to be Jewish, right? So you're going to die one way or another. So it just that seems like every exile ends that way. We and that's why we celebrate these things, and that's why we keep these in our minds, because the ones that made it out, the ones we got to cherish, the ones that actually had the knowledge and what's the word I'm looking for? They had the good sense about them to listen and wise up and to live and to choose freedom. It's positive, but it's kind of sad at the same time. But it's positive, just the way it goes.
Yeah. They were saying 2/3 of humanity might not survive.
Yeah.
I guess one of the reasons why I keep doing this hangout and I keep trying to invite folks like you right there watching right now, you, my favorite viewer, invite you to come in here and talk. Why I want to encourage the discussion and the study of the Torah. It's good for you. It's good for you. It's like the best steak you'll ever have, ever. And if you're a vegetarian, it's like the sweetest, ripest, most chloroform-filled, whatever you're thinking. Gosh, yeah, go the plethora of vegetation. Whatever it is, it's delicious. I have to go on a Tovi. I have to get my Tovi mode to say it right. Delicious. Torah is delicious. It's good for you. And it does help you in anything you want to do. Just like Kung Fu. You know, you're not learning to fight. You're learning how to balance your life. And justice is balance. I don't know where I'm going with this, but the reason why I want to do this because I want to get as many people on the ark as possible.
Yeah.
As much as I hate humanity, and I just said that out loud, yes, I hate humanity. I can't stand human beings. I'm very perturbed with them. Okay, I'm very pissed at my species. I do think they're worth it, and I want as many people as we can. There are too many good people to let go to rot.
Yeah.
You know,
sound like Moses,
huh?
Sounds like you sound like Moses.
Well, I read his stuff. I'm big on the Moses.
Yeah, bestseller. Yeah.
Well, it works on you, darn it. I used to say this when I was all Noahide, 8-9 years ago, and I was like, it's a trick, and I would say it as in good humor. It's a trick. These Noahide laws bit because all it does do is make you want more. You just want to rip it and stick it in my veins. It's a trick. You just can't stop with one chip. Like Lay's potato chips. You got to have another. Well, you start with the 7 laws. That ain't going to do you, baby. That is not going to sate your appetite. It's a great place to start. It's a great appetizer. They're asking, what do we call a Noahide? I call a noob.
Right.
It really
No
is.
green.
Once it's good to be a Noahide. It is good, but you could expand and grow as a human.
Anyway. Well, I always had a problem with that because people want to stay Noahide. It's like they don't want to upgrade. They want to stay there. It's like, come on.
You got to start taking a lot more seriously, man. There's a lot more to.
Yeah, I took things too serious back then. I got to learn to mellow up a little bit.
That's all right. It's you're a good man, and I'm very happy.
I try to be. It's just basic common sense. It's like there's nothing really to it. People. I don't know. People overcomplicate things, I guess.
Let's give the fine folks at YouTube a wonderful farewell with a Haftorah reading. What do you say?
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna head over to the Rumble for the Afterglow, right?
For Afterglow. And then we're gonna get groovy, and the dancing girls come in.
And we got a couple of viewers on YouTube today. So YouTube, all those people like and 4 viewers, man, hit that like button. Let YouTube know that we exist. The more people like the video, the bigger the algorithms, whatever it is, that it props the video up, so it gets the seen. Helps us out. Subscribe, share the video, put us on Facebook, whatever you got to do. Get a scene. So Haftorah, where we are, the Haftorah, as the old joke. We always joke around, James. We always say Haftorah. The other half.
It's a Haftarah.
Yeah. Haftarah.
Haftarah.
For those tuning in for the first time, the Haftorah is a reading out of the Hebrew Bible that directly pertains to the Torah portion we're reading this week, but isn't from the Torah itself. Like John was saying, there's nothing new under the sun. In many ways, when you read the prophets, and you're going to get Torah in it, and there's a way to teach Torah through the prophets. You can learn about you couldn't learn Torah and under certain usually Roman places and sometimes in Muslim places you couldn't read Torah, but you can read all the other stuff. Well, that's fine, but that Torah, that's just too troublesome for us. So they would learn Torah via the prophets. And that's what we kind of do today. We are in 1 Kings chapter 1. So I am at, I think there should be a link in both the Rumble and the YouTube chat to get it here on Chabad, which is what I'll be reading from tonight. I usually read from the Stone, but we've been out, and I had my Dennis Prager out, and I went and used that. I'm going to go to Chabad. That's nice and easy, and everybody can get on together. So without further ado, and King David was old. He came into his old age. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. I'm right. I'm good. Okay. And King David was old. He came into his old age, and they covered him with clothes, but he was not warmed. And the servant said to him, "Let them seek for my lord the king a young girl, a virgin, and she shall stand before the king, and she shall be to him a warmer, and she shall lie in your lap, and it shall be warm for my lord the king." And they sought a beautiful young girl throughout the borders of Israel and found Abishag, the Shunamitess, and brought her to the king. And the young girl was very beautiful, and she was a warmer to the king. and she ministered to him. But the king did not know her. That's how old and feeble David was.
Mm-hmm.
David was real good at that. Um, and Adoniyahu, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he made for himself chariots and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. And his father had not angered him all his days, saying, why have you done so? And he too was of very handsome appearance, and she bore him after Absalom. And he conferred with Job, the son of Zeruiah, and with Abiathar the priest, and they helped by following after Adoniyahu. And Zadok the priest, and Benaiyahu, son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet. Hey, one I can pronounce. And oh my goodness.
Chayei.
And Shimei and Ray,
Mm-hmm.
and the mighty men who were with David were not with Adoniyahu. And Adoniyahu slew sheep and oxen and fatlings by the stone of Zehoelith, which is beside in Rogel, and he called all his brothers, the king's sons, and all the men of Judah, the king's servants. And Nathan the prophet, and Benaiyahu, and the mighty men, and his brother Solomon, he did not call. And Nathan said to Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, saying, you have surely heard that Adoniyahu, son of Haggith, has reigned, and our Lord David did not know it. And now come, and I shall counsel you with advice, and you shall save your life and the life of your son Solomon. Go and come to the king, and you shall say to him, surely you, my lord the king, did swear to your maid, saying that Solomon your son will reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne. Now why did Adoniyahu reign? Behold, you are talking there with the king, and I shall come in after you, and I shall complete your words. And Bathsheba came in unto the king into the chamber, and the king was very old. And Abishag the Shunammitess ministered the king. And Bathsheba bowed her head and prostrated herself unto the king, and the king said, what is your wish? And she said to him, my lord, you swore by the Lord your God to your maid that Solomon your son shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne. And now behold, Adoniyahu has reigned, and now my lord the king you did not know. And he has slain oxen and fatlings and sheep in abundance, and he called all the king's sons, and Abiathar the priest of Joab, the general of the army, but Solomon your servant he did not call. And you, my lord the king, the eyes of all Israel are upon you, that you should tell them who shall sit on the throne of my lord the king after him. And otherwise, when my lord the king shall sleep with his fathers, and I and my son Solomon shall be considered offenders. And behold, she was still speaking with the king, and Nathan the prophet came. And they told the king, saying, behold, Nathan the prophet. And he came in before the king, and he prostrated himself unto the king upon his face to the ground. And Nathan said, my lord the king, did you say, Adoniyahu shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne? For he has gone down this day, and has slain oxen and fatlings and sheep in abundance. And he called all the king's sons and the officers of the army, and Abiathar the priest, and behold, they eat and drink before him. And they said, long live King Adoniyahu. And me, even more your servant, and me, even me, your servant, and Zadok the priest, and Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, and Solomon your servant, he did not call. If this matter stems from the king, from the Lord the king, I wonder that you have not informed your servant, who should sit on the throne of the Lord the king after him. And David answered and said, call Bathsheba to me. And she came before the king and stood before the king. And he swore and said, I swear as God lives, who redeemed my soul from all distress. Indeed, as I swore to you by the Lord God of Israel, saying, surely Solomon, your son, shall reign after me, and he shall sit on my throne in my stead. Surely so will I do this day. And Bathsheba bowed her face to the earth, and she prostrated herself to the king and said, let my lord King David live forever.
Mm-hmm.
Thus ends the Torah. And thus ends our time on YouTube. We're going to have a rumble and get groovy, baby. Yeah, farm out, man. That's it. Sure. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you for watching us today.
If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. Come on over to Rumble and get the rest of the show. We're going to be heading out. Rosalie, anything you want to say finally to the fine folks at YouTube? Nah, we'll save that for the John. You want to say anything?
Yeah.
Nah, you don't want to say nothing. Yeah, Shabbat Shalom. All right, YouTube.
Let me drop the link for YouTube to Rumble. Hold on, give me a second.
It should be there, hopefully. Oh,
right there. That link right there for YouTube. Go click that link.
That's where we're headed.
Take it easy.
Right now. We're going to see if we can do this. The technology. Oh, I'm going to say it like Steven Crowder does. Here we go. YouTube, piss off.
Just click the YouTube and hit remove. That's all you do. You don't hit unbroadcast.